this is not going to last that long. And I mean, look, I'm not a betting man, but I would definitely, if I was a betting man, I would definitely take odds that these people are going down in flames.
You know,
all the trappings are there.
What's funny is that they're kind of going through typical divorce issues. It's just so heightened. Like, how many men have given up their family or severed ties for their relationship, except he's giving up his royalty to do it, and it's on a global scale.
Prince Harry is in a depressed and lonely state and utterly heartbroken. And I quote, Meghan's love bombing has long since stopped. She is cold around Harry. She treats him with contempt, and he's becoming surplus to requirements. Folks close to the Sussexes have told this programme that Harry and Meghan are, and I quote, just a brand now.
When Prince Harry and Meghan stepped back from royal duties in 2020, the media's narrative was immediately to frame Meghan and Harry as the problem. It was framed as pettiness and drama, but what if it was actually about safety, environment, and trust that was never there? Because with hindsight, everything leads back to the same road, Andrew. By the time Harry and Meghan stepped back, the family and the public knew exactly what Andrew was. They saw the lawyering up, they saw the documents, they saw the protections that he received, and let's be real, the royal family would have been briefed on those documents before they ever even thought to show them to the public.
In a jaw-dropping royal shocker shaking the palace from top to bottom, Buckingham Palace has officially confirmed that the custody situation involving Prince Archie, age 7, and Princess Lilibet, age 5, has spiraled into what top insiders are now calling crisis level. According to a source deeply tied to the Royal Child Welfare Office, this isn't just serious, it's explosive. Reports claim both children have been formally removed from Meghan Markle's custodial care after a sealed legal order quietly landed at Windsor Castle just before sunrise. Insiders say this wasn't sparked by one single incident, but by a series of growing red flags that finally reached a breaking point on January 31st, when Meghan abruptly pulled both kids out of their private schools in Santa Barbara without warning. Even more shocking, no notice went to the schools, no message to the court mediator, and zero communication with the UK liaison team. The group tasked with overseeing the children's welfare under previous agreements. Within hours, a California school administrator flagged the sudden disappearance in a confidential report titled, "No Show, Immediate Concern." That report sent alarm bells ringing through every level of the royal network, and it only got messier.
Yeah, but look, you know, if you've been born into something, again, whoever discovered water, it wasn't a fish. Get your bingo cards out for that one. But yeah, I mean, the truth is, I think he just took for granted what that was and saw it as, it's very Brooklyn Beckham. Like, it's sort of seeing it as a burden, you know, as opposed to understanding that this gave you a rarefied air that you got to live in for a period of time.
Investigators soon found out that neither Archie nor Lilibet had been registered in any new school for the spring term. No transfer papers, no academic files, nothing. It was as if their education had just vanished overnight. By February 2nd, Princess Anne had reportedly called an emergency summit at Windsor Castle. Witnesses claim she entered the room holding a red folder stamped "Immediate Custodial Breach, Markle Withdrawal." Tension filled the air like a storm. Princess Anne didn't mince words. She placed the folder in front of King Charles and reportedly said, "We have tolerated image games for years, but this isn't walking away from duty." The entire palace was left in stunned silence as those words echoed through the halls. "This is walking away from the children." The words cut through the air like glass, and the room went dead silent. Everyone felt the weight of what was sitting inside that red folder, a collection of documents that sent shockwaves through royal legal and welfare circles.
But, you know, I think, you know, marriage and love, like, there is an argument to be made that love is a delusion brought on by inadequate lighting. That you know, people are just...
Slow that down? That's a good one.
Love is an illusion brought on by inadequate lighting.
Inside were records of canceled pediatric appointments for both kids, a legal order from Meghan's own team instructing staff to block all contact from royal education and child welfare officials, and, perhaps most shocking, signed financial documents dissolving a £6.3 million education trust meant to secure Archie and Lilibet's schooling in the UK. But the real bombshell was buried deeper inside that file. Hidden among the papers was a classified intelligence memo dated January 29th and stamped privileged and confidential. The memo revealed that for nearly 4 months, Meghan had allegedly been preparing for what insiders are now calling complete maternal disengagement. Investigators reportedly uncovered a non-disclosure agreement between Meghan and a Dubai-based media financier, outlining a plan to erase prior family ties before launching her new solo brand. Leaked internal emails from her legal team supposedly showed repeated refusals to join Prince Harry's proposed shared custody arrangement, and the drama didn't stop there. Marketing contracts allegedly demanded that all mentions of Archie and Lilibet be removed from both Spotify and Netflix materials tied to Meghan's projects. By the start of 2026, royal legal advisors had seen enough. They concluded that all evidence pointed toward one devastating conclusion.
It is a business arrangement. It is transactional. That is damning, and that demonstrates exactly what we thought all along. Now, my source reveals that Harry is, and I quote, moping around the house on his own, reflecting on how much he's sacrificed over the years, whilst the super ambitious Meghan jets around the world promoting her solo project.
Intentional custodial abandonment. The revelation tore through the palace like wildfire, leaving top officials in full crisis mode, desperately trying to manage what's fast becoming one of the most scandalous royal meltdowns in modern history. This isn't co-parenting, one palace insider told The Times. This is identity erasure. The words struck like thunder through the royal corridors. Without hesitation, Princess Anne moved into action. She authorized Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh, to trigger the Emergency Custodial Safeguard Protocol. Within the hour, a formal case had been opened, officially documenting what royal investigators are now calling parental disengagement. The file was immediately dispatched under joint jurisdiction to both the Royal Chancery Court in London and the California Family Court, sending one clear message: the palace was done playing games. But the real turning point hit just hours later. That same afternoon, Prince William, who had been attending an economic summit in Manchester, suddenly walked out mid-session and rushed back to Windsor with undeniable urgency. When handed the infamous red folder, witnesses say he read every page in absolute silence, his expression cold, his jaw tight. Then, looking up, he said firmly, "This isn't about Meghan anymore. This is about the survival of 2 children, emotionally, legally, and historically." The words hung heavy in the room. That night, Prince William and Princess Anne convened an emergency crisis briefing with the Royal Advisory Council, setting in motion something completely unprecedented.
So we've been told that Harry is miserable, lonely, and bored. Meghan's got what she needs, and now Meghan wants out.
Their mission: to strip Meghan Markle of all custodial access, physical, legal, and even symbolic, to the Windsor bloodline itself. It was a bold and shocking move, but insiders insist it wasn't revenge. It was protection. For the first time in modern royal history, the Crown began preparations to invoke structural guardianship over 2 young heirs, a rarely used royal safeguard designed to protect children from being swept up in public scandal and media chaos. Then, as dawn broke on February 3rd, the plan turned from whispers to reality. At exactly 10:20 a.m., Prince William, accompanied by Lord Hargrave and the Duchess of Edinburgh, entered the royal legal chamber holding the red folder like a weapon of duty. There, he officially invoked Appendix 4 of the Royal Succession Stabilization Act, a clause buried deep within royal law, one that hadn't been touched since the abdication crisis of King Edward VIII. The atmosphere crackled with tension. This was history unfolding in real time. From that very moment, the royal custody war crossed a line with no turning back. This rare royal provision was created for one reason only: to protect royal minors from erasure, displacement, or exploitation. It grants the Crown the authority to assume structural guardianship, ensuring stability, heritage, and sovereign continuity remain untouched. When the Royal Advisory Council cast their votes, the result was unanimous. Every single hand went up. What followed sent shockwaves through Meghan Markle's entire world overnight. By sunrise, Archie and Lilibet were officially placed back under the institutional protection of the Crown. Step 1 was brutal but decisive: a passport freeze. All international travel rights for both children were suspended effective at midnight. Neither Archie nor Lilibet could cross any border without joint authorization from Princess Anne and the Crown's Child Welfare Council. Officials stressed this wasn't some simple custody shuffle. It was a containment strategy crafted to stop any sudden relocations, legal loopholes, or secret flights to non-Hague nations. Then came step 2, the commercial lockdown. Under the Windsor Privacy Act of 2023, all commercial use of the children's names, likenesses, or voices was completely frozen for a minimum of 5 years. No documentaries, no brand tie-ins, no podcast mentions. Nothing. Even the Royal Sussex branding was shut down cold. From that moment on, any attempt to exploit the children's image or identity would trigger instant legal injunctions across both the Commonwealth and U.S. courts. Insiders said the scope of the move left Meghan's legal and PR teams completely blindsided, stunned, cornered, and scrambling. The palace's message was loud and clear. The crown was taking back control. No negotiations, no exceptions. Finally, step 3, the Royal Restoration Fund. Prince William personally authorized a £12 million trust, fully dedicated to Archie and Lilibet's well-being. The fund would cover trauma counseling, elite education, 24-hour security, and supervised reintegration care. Palace insiders said it was the ultimate statement of intent, a promise that these royal children would be protected, restored, and secure, whatever it takes. This wasn't some PR stunt. Palace officials called it dynastic firewalling, a direct move to shield the royal bloodline from any further chaos. But the fallout hit fast and hard for Meghan Markle. The instant it was confirmed that she had pulled both children out of their California schools without warning or explanation, the palace's crisis unit went into full-blown emergency mode. They immediately reactivated a safeguard not used since the early 1940s, the Royal Guardianship Protocol.
I mean, she single-handedly dragged him out of there, made him pretty much cut ties with his family, and now she must have, I don't know, shown her true colors or done something very, very frustrating for him to be thinking of doing this. Or is it a big PR setup from them? Because we all know that unless people are talking about them, they don't make money. So maybe they've set this entire thing up.
This ancient mechanism gives the Crown authority to step in and take custodial oversight whenever royal children face credible threats to their welfare, identity, or public standing. Princess Anne, serving as head of the Crown's Child Welfare Committee, didn't hesitate for a second. She called an emergency summit at Sandringham. The meeting included senior palace legal advisors, Prince William, and via secure video link, Lord Alistair Pembroke of the Privy Council. The agenda that night was razor sharp: establish jurisdiction, protect the children's psychological stability, and block any attempt to rebrand or reposition them outside their royal identity. Every word in that room carried the weight of history. Then came the bombshell twist. Multiple insiders revealed that Meghan's moves weren't random at all. Intelligence briefings suggested her actions were actually part of a calculated media strategy. Sources alleged that a solo docuseries was already being pitched to a Middle Eastern production group, focusing on her life as a single mother battling the establishment. To the palace, this wasn't just risky PR. It was seen as a direct threat to royal legacy itself. In Meghan's alleged concept, Archie and Lilibet weren't portrayed as royal heirs anymore. They were emotional brand anchors. That framing, insiders said, crossed every line imaginable. But the monarchy wasn't caught off guard. They'd seen it coming. On January 31st, a sealed dossier, prepared under Prince William's direct supervision and verified by Royal Treasury auditors, had already been quietly submitted to the Privy Council. It was their warning shot. The Crown had been tracking every move, every whisper, and every potential threat long before. The headlines exploded. Its contents were nothing short of explosive. The confidential file reportedly included a full financial audit exposing efforts to monetize the children's royal identities. Inside were legal filings showing attempts to trademark Archie and Lilibet's names in multiple countries, along with digital tracking data connecting PR firms to planned branded children's product lines. Every page painted a picture of a royal scandal quietly brewing behind the scenes. That same night, clearly moved by Princess Diana's legacy of protecting royal children, Princess Anne took the microphone and released a powerful, no-nonsense public statement on behalf of the monarchy. The House of Windsor will not tolerate the unauthorized commercial exploitation of children born into this institution, especially when it endangers their safety or constitutional standing. The message was sharp, fearless, and impossible to misread. And almost instantly, the financial shockwaves began. Banking regulators in both the UK and Canada froze multiple accounts tied to mail holdings, a mysterious shell company allegedly named after Meghan, Archie, and Lilibet, and linked to one foreign investor whose identity remains undisclosed. Within just 24 hours, sponsorship deals began to collapse one by one. Even a high-profile children's storytelling platform that Meghan had once publicly promoted was suddenly wiped from every press release. But the real chaos broke out online. Spotify quickly removed and archived all podcast descriptions mentioning the children, while Netflix quietly pulled thumbnails and promotional images for a shelved project reportedly titled Raising Royal Hearts. Meghan's legal representatives later insisted these changes were due to ongoing legal proceedings, but palace insiders whispered otherwise. According to senior royal sources, this wasn't censorship. It was containment. The crown had moved fast and hard to erase every digital trace of what it viewed as royal identity exploitation in progress. Behind the scenes, the monarchy officially invoked the Digital Identity Protection Act, a rarely used but powerful international child welfare clause designed to protect minors with public titles from digital misuse and commercial manipulation. It was a historic step, signaling that the crown was drawing an unmistakable line in the sand, and Meghan's media empire had just crashed straight into it. That royal clause hadn't been touched since the abdication crisis of King Edward VIII. Its language is icy, precise, and absolute. In cases where royal minors face risk of erasure, displacement, or exploitation, the crown shall assume structural guardianship to preserve stability, heritage, and sovereign continuity. This wasn't symbolism. It was constitutional power in motion. But then came the shock no one expected. Prince Harry was completely blindsided. Sources close to his inner circle revealed he had no idea the decision was being finalized until it was already signed, sealed, and irreversible. His plea to temporarily retain limited custody rights was reportedly denied on strict legal grounds. Ongoing travel restrictions, unresolved U.S. residency, and a lack of consistent income all worked against him. The final blow arrived quietly, in the form of a confidential letter, hand-delivered by a royal courier, written with King Charles's full awareness. Its tone was blunt and unforgiving. Custody, guardianship.
Now add children to that equation, and Meghan specifically, because Meghan wasn't raised in the institution or near the institution. She wasn't normalized to things the way Harry would have been, and if you're a parent and you see a system that protects abusers, minimizes harm in the name of reputation, and treats silence as loyalty, would you feel comfortable keeping your children around that? And that's exactly what the palace fears the most, outsider perspective.
And protection of Windsor children now falls solely under Crown protocol. No sentiment, no appeal, just constitutional finality. Meanwhile, Princess Catherine stepped into a historic new role, one not seen since the post-war monarchy. She took direct oversight of Princess Lilibet's emotional recovery, personally arranging weekly therapy sessions with one of Britain's top specialists in transatlantic identity trauma, a trusted Welsh nanny was reassigned as Lilibet's primary caregiver, ensuring round-the-clock consistency and care within the Windsor estate. In a deeply human gesture, Prince George and Princess Charlotte were gently encouraged to include Lilibet in their daily Windsor routines, helping her rebuild trust, connection, and belonging inside the royal circle once again. Those moments, soft, quiet, and unfiltered, spoke louder than any statement could. Then came the image that silenced every headline. A single, uncaptioned photograph released by the palace. Princess Lilibet holding Princess Charlotte's hand as they stepped out of Windsor Chapel by candlelight. The glow reflected on their faces told a story words couldn't, of heartbreak, healing, and a monarchy trying to hold its family together in the storm. The photograph went viral within minutes. No official statement was needed. The image said everything. The message was crystal clear. The crown had closed ranks. By February 3rd, Meghan Markle had become completely unreachable. Her team released only a short one-line statement asking for privacy, but her silence spoke volumes. It echoed louder than any press conference ever could. Behind the palace gates, however, insiders revealed that Princess Lilibet was adjusting far better than anyone dared to hope. One royal nanny, speaking anonymously, confessed, "She's calmer now. She trusts Catherine completely. There's no fear in her routine anymore, only structure." Those quiet words painted a striking contrast to the chaos unraveling thousands of miles away in California. Out in Los Angeles, Meghan's public and professional world appeared to be imploding in real time. The backlash came swift and fierce. Netflix reportedly froze all pending discussions tied to her upcoming solo projects. Several productions were halted before they could even reach approval. Her once unstoppable Hollywood rise seemed to vanish overnight. Meanwhile, sources close to Montecito painted a grim picture of Prince Harry's emotional state. Insiders described him as deeply distressed, struggling to stay grounded as the full weight of the custody ruling hit him. According to one longtime friend, Harry has been pleading with Prince William for a private brother-to-brother meeting, hoping to see the children without Meghan present. One confidant described the tone of his messages in heartbreaking terms. It's desperation, not negotiation. He knows this might be his last chance to hold on to any piece of that bond. Those words cut through the public noise, raw, human, and devastating. But even as the personal turmoil grew darker, one chilling question lingered in the air. Why had Meghan deleted every trace of her children from her digital platforms just days before the legal hearing? To royal watchers and insiders alike, that timing didn't feel like coincidence. It felt intentional, strategic, and deeply unsettling. The world was watching, in disbelief, as a royal family crisis that once seemed unthinkable now unfolded in real time. One image, one silence, and one vanishing act at a time. And what exactly had Prince William submitted to the Privy Council that triggered such a sudden and forceful royal response? Those questions remain unanswered, and they've left royal watchers on edge. Whatever was contained in that confidential dossier, it clearly set off a chain reaction the monarchy could no longer ignore. Meanwhile, the mystery deepened. Why were Hollywood executives abruptly blacklisting Meghan Markle without issuing a single public explanation? Behind closed doors, the silence was deafening. Then, at precisely 10 a.m., inside the Royal Household Child Welfare Chamber, Princess Anne rose to deliver her second emergency briefing in just 48 hours. But this time, the audience wasn't the media. It was a sealed courtroom, packed with UK High Court judges, senior child welfare officials, and Privy Council members, all gathered under a strict emergency protocol. The tension was so thick it could be felt in the air. Anne's tone was measured, unwavering, and cold as steel as she spoke.
Somebody who didn't grow up numb to royal tradition. Meghan and Harry had their first child, Archie, in 2019, and the following year, in 2020, they didn't just step back from royal duties, they left the country, they moved to Canada, and that's not a decision that a royal takes lightly. And it's interesting that they picked Canada also, considering Meghan is a US citizen. Why wouldn't they choose the US? Probably because it's very entangled in this whole thing.
We are no longer speaking in hypotheticals. The children in question, Archie Harrison and Lilibet Diana, have been placed in emotional jeopardy through the conscious disengagement of their mother. Ms. Meghan Markle's actions constitute a breach of the Windsor Accord custodial monitoring protocol. Her words echoed through the chamber like a thunderclap, sharp, deliberate, and devastating in their precision. And just as her statement ended, the international media erupted. New photos flooded social networks. Images of Meghan aboard a luxury yacht in Doha, champagne glass in hand, seated beside a well-known Middle Eastern media financier. To the public, it looked like an image of freedom and power. Glamorous, defiant, untouchable. But inside the palace, the mood was entirely different. To the crown, those images were seen as a symbol of abandonment disguised as spectacle. Insiders said the timing couldn't have been worse. As Princess Anne fought to restore the monarchy's integrity, the world was watching Meghan appear to toast her independence on foreign waters. For the royal establishment, that single photograph became more than gossip. It became evidence of detachment, a visual rupture between duty and desire, loyalty and liberation. And from that moment, the palace made one thing crystal clear. This was no longer a family dispute. It was a constitutional reckoning. Court filings later revealed a stunning twist. Princess Catherine herself had quietly compiled and submitted a series of detailed internal briefings to support the palace's case. The documents painted a troubling picture of neglect. According to those reports, Meghan had failed to respond to 3 urgent notices concerning her children's health, education, and emotional well-being. One notice described Archie's abrupt withdrawal from classroom interaction, alarming educators who feared he was emotionally shutting down. Another briefing detailed Lilibet's recurring night terrors and disturbing drawings filled with violent imagery. Together, they painted a grim portrait. 2 royal children caught an emotional free fall, while their mother appeared thousands of miles away, living beneath flashing headlines and bright camera lights. Inside that sealed courtroom, the tension was palpable. The monarchy wasn't just reacting anymore. It was fighting to reclaim control in the name of protection. Officials sent multiple notices, but no responses came back. Not even a digital acknowledgement. The silence from Meghan's camp was total, cold, and absolute. When Prince William finally took the floor, witnesses said his anger was contained but unmistakable. His voice cut through the chamber with a calm fury that demanded attention. "We are no longer discussing reputational damage," he said firmly. "We are confronting a deeper failure. Children born into the Windsor lineage deserve protection, not exploitation, and certainly not abandonment when they become inconvenient." Every word echoed through the room like a warning shot, deliberate, raw, and deeply personal. Then came the moment that changed everything. William introduced a sealed affidavit, reportedly written by a former Sussex staff member who had broken silence under oath. Inside was a statement so chilling it froze the chamber in complete silence. The affidavit quoted Meghan as allegedly saying, "Let the crown raise them. I have an empire to rebuild." That single sentence hit the courtroom like an emotional explosion. Gasps rippled through the audience. Judges, advisors, even senior courtiers, all left motionless. The air grew heavy as those words settled over the room like thunderclouds. Witnesses later described the moment as electric, tense, and unforgettable. Even the most seasoned officials, hardened by decades of royal crises, were stunned into silence. No one dared to speak. No one dared to move. Because in that instant, the monarchy knew this was no longer just a scandal. It was a reckoning for the House of Windsor itself. Later, Prince Edward quietly confided to aides that he had never seen Prince William so visibly shaken, not even during the chaos that followed the Netflix controversy. "This wasn't about Meghan anymore," Edward reportedly said. "It was about George, Charlotte, and Louis. William saw their future in this crisis, and that's where he drew the line."
I don't think Harry and Meghan left because of petty drama or disagreements. I think they left because they had enough reason to believe that the environment wasn't safe, especially for a child, and with hindsight, that makes much more sense to me than the media spin ever did.
His words captured the gravity of the moment. This was no longer family drama. It was royal legacy on the brink. Across the Atlantic, Meghan's legal team finally broke their silence with a cold one-line statement, dismissing the UK's findings as non-binding under California family law. But that carefully worded response, distant, technical, and emotionless, backfired instantly. Palace insiders called it a catastrophic misstep. Without a moment's hesitation, Princess Anne sprang into action. She coordinated directly with the Foreign Office, invoking a rare bilateral family protection clause buried deep within the post-Brexit Windsor Convention. The clause had never been used in modern royal history. It was designed solely for moments of absolute last resort, when a royal child faced verified danger outside British borders and parental authority was deemed compromised. By February 3, 2026, the unimaginable had become reality. The clause was active. The Crown had drawn its final line in law. For the first time in decades, the monarchy was treating the unfolding situation not as a scandal, but as a constitutional emergency, one of heritage, duty, and survival. The atmosphere inside the palace shifted overnight. Corridors once buzzing with speculation went silent. Staff moved with purpose. Every royal division, from legal to security, operated under a single mission: protect the heirs, preserve the line, and restore stability. Then, without fanfare, a final royal bulletin was released, quietly but unmistakably official. It bore the insignia of the Lord Chancellor's Court, co-signed by the royal household itself. The document contained only one stark, unambiguous line: the Crown has resolved custodial dominion under royal guardianship protocols. That single sentence changed everything. With it, all remaining parental and legal authority once held by Meghan Markle over Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet was formally and permanently terminated. It was the moment the monarchy stopped reacting and took control. A royal line had been redrawn in law, forever. The decision was historic and absolute. In one powerful decree, Princess Catherine was granted full supervisory authority over the children's emotional and moral development, working hand in hand with the Royal Child Welfare Council. It was further ordered that both Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet would remain in the United Kingdom under constitutional guardianship until the age of 16. The ruling was final, airtight, and impossible to challenge. Meanwhile, Meghan's £8 million private trust was voided in full, declared unsanctioned and non-compliant. Every single media license, entertainment deal, and commercial tie connected to the children was frozen pending a full financial audit. What had once been a thriving brand was now a legal minefield. Over in Hollywood, the silence was telling. Studios stopped calling. Projects were quietly shelved. The same industry that once rushed to align itself with the Sussex name was now backing away fast, hoping to avoid the fallout. The shine had dimmed, and the power had shifted completely back to Windsor. Inside the palace, the mood was the opposite. Controlled, united, unbreakable. Senior officials described it as the moment the monarchy closed ranks tighter than ever before. And as for Prince Harry, insiders whispered that he now found himself isolated and emotionally adrift, reportedly negotiating behind doors that no longer opened easily. In the end, the Markle era didn't explode in flashing cameras or courtroom drama. It ended in silence, signatures, and guardianship. The monarchy didn't flinch, didn't bend, and this time, the crown didn't blink. If this royal unraveling left you stunned, don't just scroll away. Like, subscribe, and share this story. And tell us below, what do you think of the crown's final move?